Thank you for joining me today for this very gentle yin practice. Almost call it a bit of an yin-storation. It's just a very calming, relaxing practice. We'll be doing a lot of back bends. This is a yin practice that is more geared towards the kidney meridian, the bladder, just creating a little bit of compression in those areas. This is a lot of back bends, and though they are gentle, if you have some back injuries or issues that you need to be a little bit more aware of, maybe give the practice a try, and if it starts to give you some discomfort, back out of it. We've got plenty of other videos to choose from. This is a complete floor practice. There's no getting up and down. I've just got a couple of blankets here for my props. You might grab a pillow or a bolster for a little extra support, or maybe even a strap to help you a little bit. So with this yin practice, we hold the poses a little bit longer. Generally with yin, you're going to hold the poses maybe about 5 minutes. We're really just going to mostly stay in maybe like 3-minute holds here. So if this is something you want to hold longer, maybe you can pause in certain poses just to stay there a little bit longer. So just starting in whatever's your most comfortable seated position. I like to get my hips up higher than my knees. Helps with my posture, my breath. We're just going to start by bringing ourselves into this practice. Taking a soft gaze to the floor in front of you, or closing your eyes completely, hands resting on your lap, palms up or palms down, however you prefer. Just allowing the shoulders to release down towards the hips. And if it's accessible, breathing in and out through the nose here. The lips are together, but the teeth are not. So inviting a little space between the top and bottom teeth. Noticing your breath, not changing it, not sending it to any particular body part, but just being aware. How is the breath showing up in the body in this moment? Let's take our time here and set an intention for our practice. This could be a goal, a mantra, or an expression of gratitude. Whatever that is, visualize it in your mind's eye. And then bringing the hands into heart center, into a prayer position, thumb touching the sternum, bow the head slightly deeper, where we seal that intention, that mantra, the gratitude within ourselves. Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you to watch this video. Before we go into our asana, our physical posture practice, I'd just like to go over a breath practice with you. This might be something you want to bring into the practice today. Excuse me. This is a square breath. And I'll show you, I'm just going to demonstrate a couple different ways. So if you just want to watch and observe for this part before you jump in, then I can teach you if you're not familiar with square breath. So square breath is basically, we take the inhale, we pause, we exhale, we pause. Nice little square there. Inhale, pausing at the top of the breath, exhale, pausing at the bottom of the breath. Do that one more time. Inhale, you can do this part with me. Pause, exhale, pause. And no, you don't have to use the hand movements. This is just help to give you a little visualization. I'll give you another one here. Find a count that works for you because we want each part of that square breath to be even. So I'm just going to pick a number 4. Your number might be 5 or 6. Play with it. It might start out as a 4 and graduate to a 6 as you settle deeper into the practice. So as we inhale, pause, exhale, pause. So if you can see, I'm counting with my fingers here. You might even tap it out. It's a little hand-eye coordination here. Let's try that one more time. There you go. So find what works for you. Let's do about 6 rounds of square breath. I'll tap out and use my square here for the first, and then the rest just settle into your own. Inhale. One more time. And then just return back to a normal breath cycle for yourself. So this is something that as we move in through these poses with longer holds, you might come into that box breath again to get you through. So for this first pose, we're going to come into, so like in a yang class, we would be more in this active dandasana. I'm going to slide my blanket back a little bit so that you can see. There we go. Dandasana would be this. So we're taking a very, very relaxed version of this pose. So I'm going to take a folded blanket or maybe a pillows, something to just put underneath the knees. And we're even going to let the feet be a little bit wider, and we're even going to let the feet turn out. So whereas in a Dandasana, a staff pose, we would be more active. We're going to be a little bit more relaxed. You can take a bolster, a pillow. You can lay it on your lap to support your head. We're going to take a very relaxed, casual forward fold. So it's completely fine at this point to round your spine. We'll stay in this one for a few minutes, and then we'll transition to a different pose in almost the same shape, but you'll be fine either way. So go ahead and find that forward fold. Let the chin come to the chest, and you can fold as forward as deeply as you like, using your pillow, your blanket, extra support. Find what works best for you here. And if you like to that box breath again. Continuing in this forward fold, we're going to make a slight adjustment where we bring the soles of the feet together, but don't pull the heels into the body like we normally would for a cobbler's pose. We're going to keep it that diamond shape in the legs bigger, but just making a little bit more room for our body. Maybe you can fold forward a little bit more this time, hinging at the hips. And again, using your pillows, your bolster, your blocks, anything to support you here. Letting the spine round, just taking it a little bit deeper into the hips, into the low back. Feeling the compression in the belly area. Go to the natural point of resistance. We're not trying to move too quickly through this. We have a natural tendency to want to engage our muscles, so we're trying really hard here just to let things go calmer, a little bit gentler. This is from Meditations of the Mat. Withdrawing the senses, mind, and consciousness from contact with external objects and drawing them inwards towards the seer is pratyahara. It's from the Yoga Sutras. And just staying in this pose with the eyes closed, just connecting with your breath. In the last 4 limbs of yoga, we leave physical technique behind and embrace an entirely internal practice. Pratyahara is the decision to turn inward, to let go of drama. It is the choice to release our grip on the external world and all of our attempts to control it in order to focus our minds entirely on the internal. In pranayama, we stood astride 2 worlds, breathing with one foot firmly planted in the physical sensation and technique, and the other planted in the internal world of concentration and meditation. Pratyahara is the moment when the intrepid explorers leave their boats on the shore and head inland. For today, simply bring this practice into focus. Begin with your asana practice and note the edge here. At what point do you draw your boat onto the shore and head inland? What reservations do you have about doing this? What resistance do you have to letting go of the past and the future? Then observe this process of turning inward as it is played out in your daily interactions. Pay attention to where you go, where your attention is placed, as you honor your commitments to your work, your relationships, yourself. This is not meant to be hard work. Approach pratyahara as you would any other posture, steady and relaxed, breath flowing freely. Maybe you notice you can focus a little bit as you let go a little bit more. Let's take 3 more full rounds of breath here. Very gently bring yourself back to an upright seated position. We'll take that pillow, set it aside for the moment, and the blanket out from underneath the knees. We're going to come onto our belly into a crocodile pose. So you can keep that blanket here underneath the hips for the hip points if you like, or you can set it aside. And we're going to move in towards lowering the hips, cross the arms, let the feet be a little bit wider. Let the forehead rest on the head from side to side here. Massaging out the forehead. And we're going to bring ourselves into this crocodile pose, noticing the sensation initially, allowing the low back to release. Taking all the time you need to release and relax the low back muscles down towards the floor. Just taking about 3 more full cycles of breath here. Very easily, with the next inhale, we're going to rise up to a Sphinx pose. So normally with a Sphinx pose, we would have our elbows underneath the shoulders, but this time we're going to push the elbows a little bit further forward. We're still not going to sink down into the shoulders, but keeping the chest lifted, gaze coming forward towards the top of the mat. The forearms are just a little bit further ahead of the shoulders. The elbows a little bit further ahead of the shoulders. Feeling this gentle compression here in the kidney and bladder area. Feel the breath in the front body. This deep compression and stimulation of the sacral lumbar arch here in the back. So if there's any sharp pains in the back, back out of the pose, lower yourself down, come back into crocodile if you need to. And this pose here is stimulating the kidneys and the adrenal glands. It's stimulating the kidneys and the adrenal glands through the compression. I just spaced out in the middle of that sentence, sorry. I'm just letting my back release and lower down into the floor. Make sure you're not cranking the neck up. We just want to keep it just soft and neutral. This is a reading from Swami Vivekananda. There is a pretty Indian fable to the effect that if it rains when the star Swati is in ascendance and a drop of rain falls into an oyster, that drop becomes a pearl. The oysters know this, so they come to the surface when the star appears and wait to catch the precious raindrops. When the drops fall into them, quickly the oysters close their shells and dive down to the bottom of the sea. There, patiently to develop the raindrops into pearls. You should be like that. First hear, then understand, and then leaving all distractions, shut your minds to outside influences and devote yourselves to developing the truth within you. Let's take one more full breath here in Sphinx pose. I'm going to lower ourselves back down into crocodile for just a little bit. Breathe all the way down. And with the next inhale, we're either going to return back to that Sphinx pose or maybe explore a seal pose. Taking your hands wide towards the front edges of the mat, the front corners of the mat. Lifting the heart, lifting the gaze, and scanning the body, making sure that we're not clenching or holding on to any parts in the muscles. We're not overly gripping. But allowing that compression in that sacral part of the spine, in the kidneys, the bladder area. Just steady breaths. Make sure that the arms aren't locked here in this seal pose. And make sure that we're not sinking into the shoulders, but pushing away from the floor. The shoulders are sliding down the spine. If at any time you start to feel a little pinching or uncomfortable in the back, you can return back to Sphinx or crocodile. Let's take 3 more breaths right where we're at here. When you've completed that last round of breath, just lower yourself back down to your belly, down to crocodile pose for a little. Start to loosen up any tension in the lower back. With the next inhale, we're going to push ourselves back up into a tabletop position. So if you've got the blanket here, it's a great place to put the knees nice and padded and cushioned here. I'm just going to move through a cat-cow, arching the back on the inhale, rounding it out on the exhale. And if you want to spend a little extra time here, feel free. But every time we inhale, we lift the chin and the tailbone. And with each exhale, we tuck the chin and tuck the tailbone. Okay, 2 more cycles of breath here, please. And with that next cycle of breath, send your hips back towards your heels on that next exhale and find your variation of child's pose. Whether it's wide knee, hands out in front, hands stacked, hands beside the hips. Just finding a most comfortable resting version of child's pose. Take 2 more full rounds of breath here. And when you're ready, we'll walk the hands up and we're going to make our way into a hero's pose. So this can be you're bringing your heels, your hips all the way down to your heels to rest. You can make that adjustment so that blanket is underneath the feet. You can sit on a block or 2 blocks. I'm going to slide a block in there or a bolster. You can flex the feet so that your toes are curled under or your feet are flat. And we're going to stay in this pose for several minutes here. So you've got lots of options to explore while you're in this shape. And it's either staying in your seated heroes, or maybe you walk the hands back behind you. You can lay all the way down, coming into saddle pose. Or maybe sending one leg out straight, keeping one leg bent, finding a half of a saddle. Those are not in my practice. So I'm just going to lean back just a little bit just to feel a little bit more stimulation in my quads, the tops of my thighs. But if laying all the way back, laying on your back is safe and comfortable in your body, feel free to explore that. You can even put a bolster behind you for your reclined saddle pose here. And don't feel like you need to stay in complete stillness in this pose. You can make adjustments, coming back up, laying all the way down, tucking toes, untucking toes. This pose is very nice for digestion. It's very nice for tired and achy legs. So we're using that compression again in the leg muscles. We'll just spend about another minute here. You're almost there. Noticing any places that tension tries to sneak into the body. Noticing your breath pattern. If you need to revert back to the square breath that we started, just to anchor yourself back into the practice, keeping the practice internal. Let's take 3 more full rounds of breath here, whatever that breath sounds like, looks like to you. We're going to make our way towards a down dog. So bringing the hands down to the floor. You might need to wake up the feet here a little bit with some tap, tap, tapping. And we'll tuck the toes. And lift the hips up towards the sky, coming into your variation of down dog and pedaling out the knees one at a time. We won't stay here too long. We just want to get the legs. Down dog. Flip and popcorn the knees up and down, or make some other movements, windshield wipers, anything that helps with the circulation. Once again, just take a couple. Excellent. And then we're going to come into an upright seated position. Sending both legs out in front, pretty much how we started. Turn my blanket here again. And we're going to start with our left leg bent, our right leg long and straight. Maybe you just make a little circles in the air with the toes. And we're going to take a forward fold from here. So reaching the arms up overhead, big breath. Exhale, hinging forward, hands coming towards the knees, the shins, the toes. Finding the forward fold that fits best in your body. Maybe having the pelvis coming forward a little bit more. Finding wherever your edge is today. Make sure that we're not clenching the jaw, pulling our shoulders up towards our ears, staying in this forward fold. Just taking 2 more big full breaths here. We'll inhale ourselves back up to an upright seated position. We're going to take this left leg and we're either going to bring it all the way over into a half of a shoelace, which means this heel would come more towards the hip, the knee would be stacked on top of the knee. If that doesn't fit in your body, you can bring the ankle to the top of the thigh, or my favorite is just below the knee. A little bit more comfortable in my knee joints for me, and I have a little bit more room for my body. So we'll take a big inhale, and with the exhale, we'll hinge forward once again. So this is also a place where you could bring a strap into the practice if you like. If it helps, you can wrap a strap around your waist and your foot to the edges of the strap. Just finding yourself, it's up to you. How much is the sensation that you want to feel? Let's inhale, bring ourselves back up, unwind the legs, bring the hands back behind, and just windshield wiper the knees from side to side. We'll take the pose to the other side now. And we're going to send that left leg long and straight, bending the right knee, just placing it on the inside of the thigh. As we inhale, a long spine, we'll hinge forward, using the strap, not using the strap, using a bolster, anything to support ourselves. Let the chin rest on the chest. Coming into your forward fold on this side. This is a pose that shows up very often in my practice. The journey of transformation begins with inward focus. Meditative awareness harmonizes unconscious forces, restless mind, and emotional conflicts. Mindful meditative awareness transports you to another dimension where you experience the unifying power of the spirits. It leads you to a sacred space in the cave of your heart where you can return again and again to regain the protective power of the divine. That is always present in you. As you enter the sacred space, leave your ego mind outside and invite the witness inside. The witness is like a black hole. Whatever you bring to it disappears into the void of nothingness, leaving nothing for you to do. The most beautiful part of the witness is that you have no obligation to process anything, to control anything, to expect anything. Just simply be in it. And it's called The Journey of Transformation by Yogi Amrit Desai. Desi? Keep breathing into the back body. A little bit longer here, about 3 more full rounds of breath. I'm going to bring ourselves back into that upright seated position, and you can cross that leg all the way over into that half of a shoestring, half of a pigeon, or a little bit further, wherever it feels most comfortable in your body. Taking a big inhale and hinging forward once again on the exhale. The world is a busy place that can't afford to give you the peace you are looking for because peace is not one of its products. If you continue to externalize your mind, then you will reap its diminishing returns. Swami Rama. Taking about 3 more full rounds of breath cycles here. And then bring yourself back upright, unwind the legs, reach back again, windshield wiper the knees from side to side. All right, from here, we're going to make our way onto our backs. So coming down onto flat back with your legs bent, so your feet pressed into the floor. Knees pointing to the sky. Just take a few minutes here, allowing the spine to settle into the floor, and the muscles to release and relax. Coming into your breath here. And taking a big inhale. And on the exhale, draw the knees into the chest. We're going to drop these knees over to the right side. So if you've got a bolster that you want to rest them on, or maybe a blanket underneath the right knee, or maybe a blanket or a pillow between the knees, send that left hand out to a T. And so wherever you're placing the left hand, we want the left shoulder to be engaged with the mat. Wherever you're placing the left hand is going to intensify the stretch, maybe across the pectoral muscles here. So if you want more of an opening, bringing it more in line with the shoulder. If you want less, maybe taking the hand closer towards the hip. Your gaze can come over towards that left hand. And just settling into a full spinal twist here. The deeper the twist, the closer the knees are up towards the shoulder or the right arm. And just playing with positioning and movement, knowing that you get to choose the adventure here. Deep breath in and out of the belly. Let's take 3 more full rounds of breath here. With the next inhale, return back to flat back, Feet on the floor, knees pointing towards the sky. Just take a pause, noticing one side of the body to the other, not attaching good, bad descriptors, just noticing without judgment. Let's take the left hand across the body, squeeze it into the chest with the right arm. Let's draw those knees back into the chest again. Maybe we squeeze in a little bit of a rocking from side to side, a little back massage. And if you had a blanket or go ahead and move it to the left side. We're going to drop those knees over here to the left. Trying to keep the right shoulder engaged with the floor. Again, making any adjustments with the right arm if you want. It's a little bit more sensation in the pectoral muscles. Maybe the hand is more in line with the shoulder. If you want a little less, you can lower it down towards the hip. Even turn your head facing towards those right fingertips. And then just making sure that the knees are coming up, just keeping that fetal position, basically, that form there with the twist. Allowing the body to settle and release into the floor a little by little, noticing if there's any places along the way that you are holding on to. Still life with fruit. Life will not be neatly wrapped and tied, boxed or pigeonholed. Just when we think all the fruit is in the bowl and we can name it piece by piece, the still life is upended. Plums and peaches roll to the far corners of the room. Now it's the empty bowl that beckons. Can we have faith and wait? Can we allow the mystery of choice or chance or circumstance to give birth to fullness once again? Can we trust the fruit will be ripe for picking when it's time to break the fast? Continue to release with each exhale. Let's take 3 more full breath cycles here. And with the next inhale, you can bring the knees back up to facing towards the ceiling. Feet are on the floor. Just letting the back muscles settle in. We're going to draw the right arm across the back. And with the left hand, taking that upside down, thread the needle pose here. Go ahead and release that arm from here. Maybe windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Maybe you pull the knees into the chest and massage the back. Any movement that would feel good in your body before we prepare for our final resting pose. Maybe moving the wrist and turning the head from side to side, addressing a couple more joints in this practice. And then start to make your way into your most comfortable resting pose. Whether it's placing blankets or pillows underneath your knees, maybe you want to lay down on a block for another back opener. Maybe you want to roll onto your side. Those are options too. Make yourself as comfortable as you can. Cover with the blankets, maybe an eye pillow over the eyes. With the eyes closed, let the eyes roll back away from the eyelids. Soften the crown of the head. Soften the forehead. Soften the eyebrows, the space between the eyebrows, softening the temples, the cheeks, and unhinging the jaw. Feel the breath entering and exiting the body in its own natural pace. Allowing yourself to soften and sink deeper down to the floor. Softening the shoulders, the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, the wrists, the hands, the fingertips. Feeling the weight of the arms sinking in down towards the floor. Breathing to the top of the spine. As you exhale, softening and releasing the upper back muscles, the mid back muscles, the low back muscles. Allowing the body to soften and melt into the floor beneath you. Breathing into the throat center. Softening the throat center, the collarbones, the heart center, the ribs, the belly, and the abdominal muscles. Allowing the whole body to feel soft and heavy and easy. Softening the hips, the thighs, the knees, the calves, the ankles, and the feet and toes. Feeling the legs growing very heavy, melting into the floor beneath you. If at any time your mind starts to wander, bring your attention back to your breath, but not changing it, not controlling it, but just observing each inhale and each exhale as you rest here in Shavasana for a little while longer. In the willingness to feel, there is healing. In the choice not to closet, cast aside, or deny experience, energy is freed and I dive deeper into life. There may be maturity in choosing not to act, but there are no rewards for suppression and denial. To be fully alive is saying yes to the wide array of human feelings. When I soften, release, and breathe, I discover that I am more than what I think, feel, reason, or believe. Begin bringing your attention back into the room with deeper, fuller breaths. Begin making small wiggles with your fingers and wiggles with your toes. Allow that movement to work its way into your wrists and your ankles. And start turning your head to one side and then the other. And then find bigger movements in the body. Knees to chest, windshield wipers, twisting, stretching, whatever feels good, just gradually bringing bigger awareness. And as you're ready, make your way to one side or the other, cradling your head with the crook of your arms, your knees stacked on top of each other, coming into the fetal position. This is just such a very nurturing pose here, feeling very supported. Take this moment to thank yourself for making time for the practice and to reconnect with the intention that you set. I invite you to take this intention with you off the mat throughout the rest of your day, maybe even the next couple of days. As you're ready, very slowly, carefully, mindfully, return to an upright seated position, bringing yourself into whatever is your most comfortable sit. Whether you like to sit on your blankets or your bolsters, it's completely up to you. Let's close our practice sharing one more breath together. Inhale, reaching the arms up overhead or gaze to our palms as we bring them together. And on the exhale, release the hands to heart center, eyes closed, head slightly bowed. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free. May we all live in peace. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this practice and have a great day. Bye.